You said it filled 2 gallon mayonnaise jars? Impressive.
Yeah, so anyways, whatever you guys do, don't tell the CIA. Anyways, I'm kidding. Um, all right, welcome to. Oof, yikes! I always forget that your session is earlier, and the sun shines right through my back window when this starts. Let me close my window, and then we will actually start. Sorry about that.
Which is why you have to bury it 7 feet down, not 6. 7.
All right, significantly better because I can be seen on camera now. Hello and welcome to the Ilderon Tales. We are playing Dungeons and Dragons today. Everything you're going to see is going to be live storytelling. This is the Gladiators um, Saga 2 of their campaign, episode 40. We've got a full party tonight, and we are playing in our own homebrewed setting. It is the world of Ilderon. You're on episode 40. If you don't know it now, you should just go look it up. And if you're under the age of 14 and you're watching this, please stop and talk to your parents because you're going to see content that is content. All right, when we last left this group off, they had just finished their arena fight. Helped out a contact of the Ruby Shadow. By helped out a contact of the Ruby Shadow, I mean kind of forcibly conscripted. Shadespear, who is one of the Milliots who handles sending out contracts to individuals with the skills to do some of the undesirable things that the I forgot the name of the people above the Millioth. The people at the center of the Ruby Shadow want done. The Millioth basically are the bureaucrats of the regions of the Ruby Shadow. The Shadespear needed additional help in one of his final deals for the night, as he was dealing with somebody who was politically well connected and wielded a little bit more power than him in this region, and didn't want to be bullied or kidnapped or disappeared. Did or be made to disappear. There we go. With that, Brewbark followed him and joined in. You guys witnessed a deal between these two individuals. Play this music and turn it down a little bit. The deal was between a Risen member and Shadespear. Shadespear had acquired a very powerful poison for her and a lot of it. He had implied that her plans were akin to regicide, and with that, that is something that the Ruby Shadow does not endorse. They like world leaders, they like having good relationships with countries so that the Ruby Alliance is welcomed everywhere. They do not assassinate world leaders and do political assassinations. So Shadespear had cut her out of the network, saying this was the last deal that she'd be able to do, and she was only able to, or he was only fulfilling it because he knew who she worked for, which came as a shock to her. Shadespear implied it was one of the seated, and she took her poison and left. With that, Brewbark got paid for the job. Shadespear released you guys from his employment and went to end his business for the night. Brewbark tried to stalk the individual to maybe get a lead on who the real Shadespear was, but unfortunately was only able to get a general region of the city that he is in, and lost sight of the vessel. With that, Shadespeare Brewbark went back to the party, let them all know what he witnessed for that night. The party slept through the evening and woke up on the 2nd of Artis. Had to check my day. Woke up on the 2nd of Artis. You guys went to let some people know what was going on, and I'm pretty sure you guys met a really important Risen member last session. Oh yeah, Aura. The party went to the school of what school was she? Went to the School of Honor to try and talk to somebody in order to went to the School of Honor to try and talk to somebody to say that one of the Risen members was up to something nefarious. You guys spoke with a woman named Aura, Risen of Honor. You knew her before as a emissary of the Sky Queen. She is the one who invited you to dinner tonight with the Sky Queen. And it is worth noting that that dinner also will be with Iranka, seated of grace. After informing Aura of what's going on and that you guys are trying to find out who Shadespeare is, she informed you that Shadespeare is a urban legend, a title passed from person to person and more of a wraith than a real person. Regardless, you guys are in good favor with Aura, and she took you to the Supreme Light's vaults to sort through some of the paperwork and the reportings of Shadespeare in town, so that you guys could try and get a better read on who this person is. Out of the reports that you saw one of a halfling being assaulted, a young girl by the name of Adalil, and a area of where it happened. You guys thanked Aura for her help, and you went to the region of town where Adalil was assaulted at, with the hopes of finding her and talking to her. You guys are in. Let me grab my notes for this section of town.
Brandon, super small correction from introduction.
Oh,
I was
go ahead.
I was paid before the job, so I didn't know what it was before. Super small.
Fair enough. Oh, where you guys are in Honor's Reach, but I don't think I wrote down the name of this region of town that you're in. But I know the building you're at, so I will give this neighborhood a name, just in case you guys come back here. Give me 1 second to roll.
Hopefully, I don't have to face too harsh of penalties for conducting a crime.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, also, you're gonna have a trial that Aura is trying to wiggle you out of.
Yeah, I got that in my notes.
Let's call this area Brecent Courtyard. Or Brecent Court. There we go. And all right, you are in front of the shop. There is a sign out in front. There is a sign in front of the shop. The wood engraving on, or the wood furnishing on the sign, is of a lot of different cogs working together, and it looks to form a map. And underneath the burning, the words carved into the sign are the meticulous cartographer. It is the 2nd of Artis, the late afternoon. You all are in the city of Sky's Reach. What would you like to do?
Well,
Well, go ahead.
I have one small thing I'll fit in somewhere. I plan on putting the logo for the city into my spectacular magic cape.
Okay. Let's see. I believe this one was the tree with the tempest behind it. The ones I have
Sweet.
notes of, the Reofear ones, the tree with the sunrise, then the tree with the ship from Geokyphros. I don't remember what. The Soromangan one was a moon. And then this one is the Tempest from the Windswept Rounds. I am going to take notes of the Soromangan one because I don't have that here. All right, Jeff, you were saying something for C's?
Yeah. From my notes last time, there was the Bronze Scepter
Yes.
group, and so I wanted to go look into figuring out what's going on with them, and who has control of their assets, or if they have been seized. And the other thing is to go talk to the halfling at the clockwork shop that got smacked by the quote apprentice unquote that was on the dominate contract with Shokel.
Just because it's been so long, I'm gonna poke your notes just to make sure you got the right information.
Okay.
The Bronze Scepter is under investigation for using banned earthfire magic in their crafting processes.
Okay.
The halfling that you guys are tracking, Adalil, is a apprentice at this shop, and she was the one who was assaulted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was assaulted by somebody.
Some random halfling. Okay.
I believe I don't remember exactly how it was presented, again, because it was so long, but my intention in how I gave you guys the information, the person, when you guys were looking into Shadespeare contacts, the person who assaulted her was one of the claims that people had, that person was Shadespeare.
Okay. I guess my notes are a little off in that one. Okay, so the thread I was tracking is that the contract with Shokel there was an apprentice mentioned on the contract. And that individual was involved in an altercation with the halfling. Is that correct?
Yep. I'm sorry. Yes. This lady was assaulted, or this girl was
Okay.
assaulted. She also has dealings with Shokol.
Okay. Okay. So for that one, I was going to go try to talk to the halfling.
Mhm.
That
You
did
guys
the
are at the
assaulting,
shop
I believe.
that she is apprenticing at.
Okay. Well, then it's time to go right on in.
Okay. C's wants to
Uh.
go inside. Is everybody else following or waiting?
Would you like accompaniment?
Yeah, come on in. I mean,
Sure.
this is tracking the supposedly mythical Ruby
I
Shadow.
would like to catch Shadespeare and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this would be still interesting for us. So, anyway.
Okay.
I see no reason not to.
All right. Stepping into the door of this place, there is going to stepping into the door of this place. There is going to be well, a lot of your vision is going to be obstructed as there are shelves and shelves on either side of the walkway past the door into this building. The shelves are filled with scrolls, and above you, on some of the towering shelves, you see mage hands and quills grabbing and retrieving stuff, or writing and unraveling some scrolls. On the first floor, at the center of all of this, you are going to see a woman. She is dressed in the uniform of the Risen of Grace. It seems that she is orchestrating some of these on-scene servants and the mage hand moving about. She is calling to someone between the shelves. As you step in, she is going to take notice of all of you entering the business. She will turn and bow and say, "Iliaria, Adelaide, there are customers." You hear a girl shout and say, "All right, I'm coming, I'm coming." Running from around one of the shelves and into the central walkway, you are going to see a small halfling girl with a armful of scrolls stepping up to greet you all. She's got brown hair and large hazel eyes. She's got a amulet of the Ruby Alliance around her neck. She is looking up at all of you, and she's going to say, "Iliaria, welcome to the Meticulous Cartographer. Do you have an order?"
No, I do not. I believe I may actually be here to speak to you, but this was not quite what I expected. The sign outside made me think clockworks, and I got quite excited about all of that.
She's going to nod and say, "Oh yeah, we do diagrams of clocks too. The master of the shop can pretty much diagram anything you want. We're a scriptorium, so we get orders from the Supreme Lights, from mercantile guilds, you name it."
Interesting. So, I guess do you want the exciting part first, or the part you might not be able to help with first?
She's going to smile and say, "I'm always a fan of exciting things."
I'm given to understand that you were a participant in an altercation with a certain individual fairly recently. I never got names in my notes.
she is gonna nod and say, "Oh yeah, you're talking about Chuzix." She shakes her head and says, the Risen solved all that mess. I didn't want to see him rot away in a cell."
They did. However, Chuzix, I believe, is involved in some other matters. I wanted to see if I could get some information about finding him and any other things you might know about this person.
She is going to think on it and say, you know what? I can't say that I've heard from him in a while. I do hope he's all right. He had an order with our scriptorium, and ever since then, she shakes her head and says, well, I guess he wasn't happy. He thought that...
Dissatisfied with the work? Did he pay you and everything?
She's going to shake her head and say, well, he paid, but he thought that I intentionally messed up his scroll that he got. But I wouldn't do anything like that. One of the names of our shop is Meticulous.
Of course.
She's going to... well, she's going to kind of shuffle her scrolls under her other arm and say, is there anything else I can help you with? I wish...
Probably not, unless you know where I could find an Earthfire magic core.
She is going to bite her lip, think for a moment, and shake her head and say, "Ooh, that's something you gotta go looking for. I don't think we've had one of those come through here."
I had a feeling, but I thought I would ask anyway. Is your business with, sorry, the name keeps escaping me. This other individual completely concluded? Or are there any outstanding items?
She'll think on it for a second.
Before you go any farther with that, I'm a holder of a few different colors of contracts here in Ilderon, or here in the city. So if there's anything that needs sorting out for a nominal fee, I would be happy to go find them, because that aligns with my own interests at the moment, and see if I can get both matters settled quickly.
She's
I'll be going
going
that way.
to shake her head and say, as far as I know, other than his spell scrolls, there was nothing else that we had of business for him.
You said other than his spell scrolls?
She's going to nod and say, yes, the ones I delivered to him.
So they have been delivered and paid for.
She nods and says, that's how he knew who I was and where to find and attack me. It was before the assault.
Understood. If you don't mind my asking, or if you're at liberty to say, what kind of spell scrolls were you bringing to him? What were the spells?
She's going to open her mouth to speak, but you are going to hear a voice echo through the shop. Sharply, a man's going to call, saying, "Adalil!" She turns her head, looking up. On the back second floor on the balcony, there is a halfling looking through the rails. He is going to say, "You take the orders and deliver them to me. You're not here to gossip with the customers." She's going to say, "Yes, Master Lymelia." She bows and says,
It's not a matter of gossip, this is a matter of business. And thus far I have not completed placing any kind of order, so she is not at task as yet.
she's going to turn and say, I really should get back to work, but I believe it was a scroll of planar binding. From my understanding, Chazix was experimenting and testing around with magic. He was practicing with some higher level spell scrolls, but as to if he was able to successfully cast them or not, I believe that's why he got mad. When the casting failed, he came after me.
One should never blame others for their own failings. Thank you entirely for your time. And, yeah. I'm sorry, I do not have any order to place at the moment.
Okay. Adalil is going to look a bit nervous and run back off into the shelves with the scrolls she's carrying, and she's going to shout over her shoulder, Ilyaria!
Thank you. I don't think I'm getting used to that Ilyaria anytime soon. I don't know. Anyway, so guys, and do you want to ask her for any particular scrolls or anything, since that's where we're evidently in the shop of?
I don't really have any needs.
Oh, I just had a crazy idea. I mean, they seem to do scripting. Maybe they do your embroidery kind of stuff too, or at least can give you a template to bring to an embroiderer for your cloak.
While you guys are talking,
I have a leather press. That's what I've done with the other ones with the emblems.
Oh, you have a stamp. Okay.
While you guys are talking, Master Limelia is going to shout down to the wizard who is orchestrating all these unseen servants and say, Elisheth, make sure they don't steal anything. Fetch me if I'm needed. She's going to bow and say, of course.
He beg your pardon.
He puts his arms behind his back and walks into the door.
Make sure I don't steal anything. Really.
Elisheth is going to say, Master Limelia's social skills aren't very, they're not as polished as his craft.
Not social skills, it's just not being judgmental about it. Accusatory, bunch of other words, whatever. Point is, I'm not here to steal anything. And if I did, you wouldn't be able to stop me.
Elisheth is going to nod. It's like, I'm but a risen scribe. I would simply report it to the Risen of Discipline. But,
you have nothing to worry about. It's just unkind of someone to throw you under the cart, so to speak.
She's going to step forward quietly and say, I'm the one who filed that report on behalf of Adalil. She didn't want it mentioned or reported at all. She is going to lean in and say, her memory is failing her. The scroll she delivered was a scroll of Dominate Person. I don't know what business that kid had casting it. In either case, he hadn't even started his attribution training, or his attribution path in the university. I hope that helps in whatever you're looking for.
What was your name again?
She's going to say, Elisheth of Grace.
I don't know if you were mentioned in any of the paperwork that I read, but okay. Actually, you probably were on the assault report. I don't suppose you have any Warforged clockwork accoutrements, upgrades, or other interesting diagrams?
She is going to shake her head and say, "No, but I am familiar with the process that it takes to create one of you. I've studied it. I could inform the master and have him plot you out one."
I think I would like that very much. What would the cost be?
She's going to say, for the master's time, 10 gold an hour, and for the supplies used, 6 silver, and for my services, another 6.
What's the approximate time to complete?
If I am accurate in my description, perhaps 2 hours.
What model of Warforged?
She's going to look at you, and what are you?
Shield class.
Say that again?
Shield class.
Yeah, so she is going to say, well, for an XJ,
I'm not an XJ. I'm S. Sierra 332 is my number.
and she's going to nod and say, yes, but you're similar to some of the field units that Heimsdale deployed.
I'm a field unit that Heimsdale deployed.
And she's
The XJs are a little different. They're slightly more attack oriented than the shield class.
She's going to nod
But-
and say, yes, I believe we could get a working blueprint of yourself. Even if I contact a few Arcanists from the university, we could accurately replicate your frame.
I'm quite familiar with my own workings, and I have a friend that was an XJ that I'm pretty familiar with as well. I was more interested in the modifications that are possible. I've made a few of my own, and I don't know if those are something you have documented or not. And I wanted to see if there were some that I was unfamiliar with. Though the creation document is also interesting. I was originally asking for the modifications, the little add-ons, you know. He'll like point at his arm with the shield that folds up built into it.
She's going to shake her head and say, I've never crafted one of you. I was actually going to work the scriptorium at the Vault of the Damned before Master Melia requested my services. I could theorize some ideas, but she shakes her head and says, Alona Guy and Heimsdale have both moved on from innovating and creating Warforge.
So I've noticed.
She's going to
So how about this?
look down and say, the goddess does not shine her favor on those who transmute souls.
Well, those who have been transmuted seem like good folk and probably deserving of a little shining. So, how about this? Partly because I'm curious about the differences. Go ahead and give me the diagram for the XJ class, and throw in an extra, say, 4 silver for yourself to spend a little time theorizing about modifications the compatibility of the modifications is very, very high between the two classes. So I think it will work out in most cases, and I can probably figure out the differences. Or we can sit and chat about it, and at some point, not when you're on the clock, because I think your boss might get cranky about that.
She's going to say, my services are taxed by the Sky, are regulated by, or the cost of my services are regulated by the Sky Queen's will for the safety of Lil Nagai. The funds that I take are distributed in a manner of importance to the spiritual well-being of the populace, the safety of the nation's border, and the education of the Commonwealth. I cannot take personal funds for myself.
So, lest you misunderstand me, I was attempting to hire you to spend some time working on additional modifications.
Oh,
And the funds can go as you see fit. And in a weird sort of way, anything that any modifications I do that enhance my performance in the non-arena functions anyway, just also contributes to at least some of those things. So it's all kind of circular. And that's also where I got the money. So anyway,
I have a offer, C's. I would be willing to pay the same amount to have a second set drawn up with the most extreme takes on various weapons that could be on there, with as much imagination as possible.
what kind of weapons do you mean? Anything? Something exotic and crazy?
Exactly. As
Built into a
imagination to the extreme. Your set can be clinical, and my set can be the extreme, and that'll be my gift to you.
Well, thank you. That sounds entertaining at very least. I have to see if I can make some of these things. If nothing else, it'll be fun to have in the arena, right? So yeah, I think I'm looking at 11 gold, 6 silver, plus whatever he decides to throw in that direction.
She's going to say 21 gold, 2 silver.
Second copy, check.
No, 2 hours of time.
Ah, right. I missed that part. Right.
It would be 20 or 42 gold and 4 silver for both of your requests.
I thought it was 21 each.
Isn't that?
Yeah, that's the split.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, yeah, I already took the 21 and 4 silver out.
Same here.
All right. She is going to take time, or not take time. She's going to start pulling out her tablet, and she will scribe she'll scribe it, giving you guys a contract for the services requested. After a moment, one of the mage hands is going to come down. It has a stamp in its hand. It is going to roll the stamp across the page, and then move on to another shelf. She will hand you guys a copy of the form.
Sign, I presume?
To which I'll just hand it over to him.
Thank you. Does this require a signature?
Well, yeah, it will, the first one. Just a confirmation. And then when you receive your goods, I can draw up a more detailed manifest.
Sounds good.
All right. If you guys sign the form, she'll hand it over. Hold the form in the air. It begins to move on its own as one of the unseen servants grabs it and walks it to a back room. Alisheth is going to turn around and keep orchestrating her different spells, sorting, stamping, and double checking. No, I forget the word. Ooh, it's right on the edge of my tongue.
Certifying?
Certifying, but there's a legal word for notarizing. There we go.
Notarize.
Hey, it was right there. Notarizing the different scrolls that are being produced here.
When should I come back to look at results?
I'll roll you a percentage die. Your order will be processed, but does he have other things in front of him? 1 through 65, yes, as it seems to be a decently respectable business of people getting stuff ordered. 66 and up, it will be ready today. 87, she's going to say anytime this evening. The master should be finishing with his current orders, at which case he should have time to work on yours.
Awesome.
4 hours of estimated work time, perhaps before you rest for the evening.
I will endeavor to
leave
drop
them
by.
with Adalil, as she works the front shop in the evening when I retire.
How late are you open?
She's going to say, the master and Adalil live here, but my services are only from sunrise to sunset.
Understood. I have a dinner. I'll probably show up after that.
I shall inform him.
Thank you.
Cue the exit music.
All right. You guys can leave.
One more thing.
Oh, okay.
Is that that scroll, is that a frequent purchase for him, or is that just was that just a one-off?
For
The
Chazix?
Yes.
She's going to say, we, from what I can recall, he's only shopped with us once before, but that scroll is a common purchase by our customers. We're well known within the city as the ones able to fastest produce it, or able to produce it the quickest.
Understood. Thank you.
Do you store record of who gets those scrolls?
She's going to nod and say, yes, Master Limelia keeps a sales manifesto in his office. I verify it weekly.
I
Thinking we should be looking
I
at
think my
patterns.
character's limitation as far as intelligence would probably stop there, but mildly out of character. I think if they're doing possessions and such on a regular basis, they might be using the same shop for the scroll. We might be able to use that information or hand that off for someone else to investigate.
Maybe. I don't know if we can keep digging on this one and find patterns and whatnot. Is that something we can just look at, your sales manifesto? Or is that something that, like properly contracted people and or risen are required? Like a warrant?
She's going to nod and say, the risen services are taxed for the well-being of the Ililinagian population and citizenship. As such,
I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about who did what or who purchased
she's going to say, as such, all of our records are public knowledge. Their quarterly tax. Their quarterly tax forms are stored in the Supreme Light's vaults. I can assure
Okay.
you, all of my paperwork is in order.
Well, that was not in question. It's whether or not we're allowed to look at it.
She's going to say, what Lord Limelia has. Lord Limelia has personal records. He keeps things in a different sorting system than how the Risen do things. But for every good coming in and out of this shop that has my stamp on it, you can simply request records from the Supreme Light. For what Lord Lamelia, or not Lord, Master Lamelia has in his office, I can make a request of him, but it is of his personal preference if he wants to let you see it.
I think the public records might do us. We can ask here. Sure.
She's going to bow and say, I shall fetch him for you. She does not move as she continues watching all of these unseen servants work. A few moments later, the door opens to Master Lamelia's office as he steps out, and he is going to look through the rails down at you and say, why do you all want to see my records?
Because there's a certain pattern of purchases that I'm looking into right now. Trying to track someone down.
He's going to take a book, or he's going to step back into his office, come back out with a book about half the size of a normal tome, and he is going to throw it down towards you guys. The pages flutter, the book hits the ground and tumbles over.
Try to catch it.
Okay. I wouldn't say it's very hard to catch. You are
about
able
that?
to. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, that's fine. You are able to grab the book and flip through it, and let's see. Alisheth is there. She's going to look back over it and say, that's last month's sales. For
Close enough.
the month of... I should remember what month that was. It's not artist, because we're in artist now. That is the sales for the month of Noble.
Well, I'm just looking through for dominate person scrolls purchased by maybe the same person on a regular basis, or
Okay. It is
because the thing is, if they spread out who's purchasing them, then unless that's the only, unless Shadespeare's organization is the only people actually making the purchases, then there's no point.
We should probably make a list of the people that have requested that scroll, just in general.
That's a good idea. Yeah. All right, start going through it. See what I can find. Maybe take notes of who bought them.
Okay. How long do you devote to doing this?
I don't know. How long do I have? How long till dinner? How about that? Since we have a dinner thing to go to.
It's
That's today, right?
Yeah, it's afternoon, sunset soon. I'd say you guys probably have about 2.5 hours.
Okay. I should probably allow myself a good hour for polishing. But there's other things I want to chase down. I don't know. I'll burn an hour on it.
Okay.
If everybody else doesn't mind hanging out
If,
or helping.
if you start pouring through the tome, you get probably about 5 minutes into it. If you're
Okay.
like meticulously going through everything, Alice
Start
Shift
at the beginning. Start flipping
Can I
through
assist?
the thing.
Yeah, Alice Shift
Sure.
is going to stop you and lead you to an area in the back of the shop where you guys can sit down at a table and study it.
Thank you.
She'll keep you guys in sight, and every couple minutes you guys might see Adalil peeking at you guys. Go ahead and give me a flat intelligence check.
Okay.
Now we're all helping with this, right?
That was my plan.
Yeah. We're all in the room.
Yeah, let me see something real quick for you all. And I need to pull up Caesar's character sheet. Okay. Yeah, you can each make this check. I'm going to rule that you guys can't provide the help action on it, as far as you sitting and trying to point out things to seize or look for patterns.
Oh, I figured he would read it whenever it came up, and I would write it down. Or
you can each like collectively work on this, but for mechanical purposes, Seize is not rolling with advantage. But you guys can all help and read together. The reason being to help. Normally, it has to be something you're trained in. And there's a reason I'm asking for this check, but for the purposes of this, you guys can each try it, but you're all kind of the blind leading the blind right here. That said, give me a check for Regus if he's helping out. Sees, as you are reading this, you are going to note that there are you're going to note that there are 40 scrolls of dominate person being sold from this place.
Mhm.
It does not look like they have had a repeat customer. Alisheth's seal is on this book that she has verified the information within it. The other interesting thing to note about these scrolls is sometimes they are picked up by the customer. Sometimes they are delivered by Adalil. And it seems to be about 50% of the time they are delivered.
Are there any common addresses, Sees?
Brandon?
Oh, sorry. I was just like, I was waiting for you to answer. I was like, oh. Common
I don't know, let me
addresses for these.
I was
I
making a
would
note of
say-
names, not addresses so far, but
Yeah, I would say not all the people who buy these even have places of residence in town. That information wouldn't always be recorded, but for the ones that it is recorded in, it does not look like there's a commonality in who's purchasing these.
I'm not a expert on dominate person. What non-nefarious reason would you have the scroll drawn up?
Oh, sees. I'm going to give you another piece of information you're able
Okay.
to collect off of this. You are going to recognize two of the names. I'm just looking back through my notes real quick to see if you guys met these people. Thachero, or I'm sorry, Thachano and Shokul. You recognize both of these people, and the one pattern you're able to put together between the two of them and the other people you've seen Shadespeare as presumably all of these people are halflings.
wait a minute. We've got a run of halflings in here? So, or just the ones that I recognized?
You don't know. A little guy doesn't record demographic data. That's stuff you know as a character.
Okay.
You've met Shokul before. She's the
Yeah.
flower or the
Blue hair.
yeah, the poison merchant, and you have seen Fachano before. I don't know if you've I don't know if I gave you this information last session when you were looking through the arrest reports. The very first night that you met Shadespeare, I have it in my notes that you guys picked this up, that Thachano was the guy that Shadespeare had dominated.
Okay. Well, that actually makes a lot of sense. If you're trying to jump around for who's actually, using air quotes, Shadespeare that time, may have the same person reading the scrolls all the time, probably do, honestly, but sending the future dominated person, or maybe current dominated person, to get the next scroll keeps that.
It's a contingency plan for the next scroll each time. Different person.
Yeah, but that's just it. That keeps the caster under wraps for longer because they never actually show up to buy the scroll or have it delivered to them.
Well, if the Risen wanted to tail someone and just follow the next person, they have to deliver the scroll at some point.
True. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is, there's 40 of them. That means there's, roughly one a day. And this person may be, say, currently being dominated, and they go pick up the scroll for the next round and hand it to the caster. Or they're having them delivered, and part of the contract is we're going to have something delivered to you. Just hold on to the package until we get there, kind of a thing.
I think we could probably make a strong case for the government to investigate this for us.
Yeah, pretty sure we're not going to have that kind of time to follow a whole pile of these. Tricky part might be getting enough of them to believe it so that we can get some actual serious work done in this direction.
I'm going to cut in,
Mhm.
and I'm going to say, Brewbark, roll me an intelligence check with disadvantage. C's, just to clarify for your character living in the world, there are 40 days in the Ilderon month. It is not about one a day. It is exactly one a day.
Okay. That's actually a little bit suspicious.
See, or Brewbart, you feel like you're right there, but I don't know. Maybe there's just
The
some
fact that I
days
don't know this is pretty funny. It just goes to show, stay in school, kids.
I mean, in roleplay, Brewbark was just right there, connecting ideas, and just walked right past it. But it's just like there's something. If only you had put more time into pouring over like aggregated data. And
In my
analyzing
defense, I don't even know my childhood. I don't know if I went to school.
That's fair. You know, that haze is just sneaking up on you.
So here's what I figure I can put together. You got 40 days in the month. You got 40 scrolls. And the other thing was, what non-nefarious purposes would one put a dominate person scroll to? Kind of a short list in my brain, at least. You know, the wheels are turning, but not coming up with a lot of good answers aside from a wizard's about to go adventuring and he wants a copy for his book and didn't already have it or something like that. I think that's how that works, right? You get a scroll, you put it in the book, and they can use it later. Anyway, doesn't matter. So yeah, kind of coincidental, I guess. How much you want to bet all these 40 people have contracts to get dominated and be Shadespeare for a day or hour, or however the heck long this thing works?
I think that's a strong chance. I wonder if we can just go back to the records and look those up quickly.
I don't know about the quickly, but
well, we've got what, probably an hour before we have to get ready? Half an hour before we get ready?
Brandon, how long did it take just for us to arrive at these conclusions?
Oh, this was an hour pouring over the data. You guys have read the entire book.
Okay. Bring it back to Adelaide or whoever is available that works. Yeah. Alicia? Okay. Well, I was going to bring it to the assistant instead of bugging the boss.
Alicia is not... She's the Risen member.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Adelaide, the little girl's the apprentice.
Right.
She is around very occasionally. You guys see her peeking around a corner from a shelf. If any of you make eye contact with her, she ducks behind it, goes back to business.
Okay. I was just going to start with, like, whoever's works there and is available.
Yeah. Alicia is working the floor.
Okay. So I hand it over to Alicia. Thank you. That was quite informative.
She is going to tuck it under her shoulder and say, I'll return it to Master Limelia.
Appreciate it. Anyway, off we go.
Off to the records.
Yeah, so let's go back to the records and maybe we'll run into Ara again since this is a potentially interesting topic. She might want to go chase this down.
All right. You guys can go back to the Supreme Lights vaults. And I'm pretty sure it's Glacius Watch, the Supreme Light of this region. Aura. I'll let you guys make this decision. Aura does not work here. You guys met her at the School of Honor. You are looking for somebody important that you could trust. And the School of Honor is where you guys assumed you would find somebody like that.
Okay, let's actually start there then.
Okay. I will roll you a dice if
I think we could do a tiny bit of footwork before going directly to her. If there's contracts for each of these people in the order that the payments were in, then we could have a paper trail for her to have already. It may not be a bad idea to just hand the list to a courier, and just bring us the pertinent details.
That sounds good. Okay, let's do that. We'll stick with the local place, or nearest place for the records and such.
Okay. Going to Glacius Watch. It is okay. Do you want me to fill you in also on the stuff you guys learned? Or did he say back or I'm back?
I said I'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
I have to hit the head.
No worries. It is the evening, and Glacius Watch, at least some of its public services, are closing for the night. Fortunately, other people are aware of this, and the line is shortening. By the time you guys get here, the last couple people are being helped by the Vault Runners. You guys are able to get to the front of the line. There are... let's see, I will roll you a d6. There are 3 Risen members left, essentially as tellers, running the record vaults. You guys get to the last one. Her 2 runners are there awaiting your requests. She will look up at you and say, Ilderon. She has one of those smiles on her face where it's just like, make it quick, make it quick, make it quick.
Ilderon, and I think this should be relatively easy, but I apologize in advance if it isn't. So I have here 40 names. They have all purchased Dominate Person scrolls from a particular shop. And what I'm looking for is a correlation with contracts set up for them to be dominated for a period of time.
What's the shop's name?
Is the Meticulous Cartographer.
We can look at their sales records.
I already have their sales records. I know they were sold. The correlation with have these individuals entered into a contract to be dominated, that's the question.
He's 40.
Yeah. She's going to nod and say, if that was sold as a service, then yes, we would have records of that. I can take that list and send my runners to check on it.
Hang on. This one right here, Shokel. I already know about that one, so you can skip and just get the other 39.
She's going. Do you give her the list?
Yes.
All right. She's going to take it, hand it off to a runner. The runner is going to nod and head into the vault, or the passageway that leads into the vault. You guys wait around for 10, 15, 20 minutes. The other runner goes in. Then another 10 minutes passes.
These is probably starting to creep somebody out by now because he just went into like rest mode
Mhm.
and just standing there staring straight ahead.
The runner is going to, or the second runner is going to come back and speak up, and, or rather, she is going to have a discussion with the um, person who runs the desk. She turns to you and says, "They've verified um, so far 70% of the names on your list. Um, while it is true that while it's true that they do have some contracts with the shop in question, uh, only 5 individuals have had contracts with the shop. Um, however, uh, they have looked into a handful of the other names. They do have contracts of a similar nature, but with various people in various different names. Um, while it's a service offered by the shop, she's going to shake her head and say, all of these names did not receive it from the shop.
Okay. Well, I pulled these names from their sales records. So whether or not they worked with the shop is assumed at least to be accurate. The question is whether or not they agreed to be dominated at some point in time in the recent past. That's the contract I'm looking for. But if you're showing something different compared to the shop's records, then I'm curious again.
All right. She is going to say, well, we can wait for my last runner, or for the first runner to get back, and she'll have the details of your requests. You guys wait another 10, 15 minutes finally before the runner emerges. She's going to come back and say, I looked up all the names on the list you've given. She hands it to the woman working the desk, who places the list back in front of you. Only 8 of them have contracts with the shop. I wanted to be comprehensive in my search, though. The other 32 do have similar contracts to be dominated, but they are with different individuals. I'm sorry we couldn't be of more help.
That's actually quite helpful. So let me just run this back to make sure I'm getting this right. There are only 2 individuals on the list that had a contract to be dominated, correct?
There are 8 individuals that had a contract to be dominated that was done with people associated with the shop. The other 32 have similar contracts. She decided to look into those for you. I rolled you a dice of if you get someone who's good at their job or not. She was very thorough. You got an 89 on that. So she decided to look into other things for you. All of the names on the list have a contract to be dominated. However, it was not done through the shop for the other 32.
Okay, that part I'm not surprised at. But the fact that 8 of... Okay. Some of that was weird, but the fact that all of them have contracts to be dominated and also purchase the scroll means that that original theory of let's just have the dominated person go get the next scroll totally works. But it's weird that they were contracting. Wait, who does it say on the contracts that these people were contracting with the shop to be dominated? Who was the other party for those?
She's going. Well, you know what? I'm gonna roll her a percentage die. She's going to say, one of the tenants of Alunagai, the shop helps pay their taxes through donations contributing to the progression of knowledge of the common good of Ilderon. With that, the education of the Commonwealth, a lot of these were contracts and donations for students in either direction. The most prominent one that I remember, a apprentice named Adalil was practicing magic. A lot of these are practicing arcane arts. A lot of these seem to be of a similar nation of donations of scrolls and reagents on behalf of the shop to the individuals involved.
Okay. I think that that was mentioned that there were certain services from the shop that the money went to the betterment of the country. So that makes
Back,
sense.
by the way.
Okay.
So while you were gone, we learned that everybody that bought one of those dominate person scrolls also had a contract to get dominated.
Yep.
Okay.
I just didn't want to speak up and interrupt you while you're in the middle of talking.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. I just want to make sure you were aware.
Yep. Thanks.
So, do you think that Adelaide sort of peeking out at us from behind the shelves and whatnot was her being worried that she was going to get found out or something like that?
I could see it, but I also am slightly suspicious of the master, who that's his records. He's sold it. He's the person in charge. It would be hard to believe that he has no idea that he makes one a day every single day.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It depends on how much of that is actually the master doing the work and how much of it is all the mage hands.
But it's the receipts. If it's every day for months on months on months, wouldn't you be surprised?
I would say, that's strange. And I don't know how much I would want to look into it because, it's easy money. I'm going to throw an insight on Adelaile's behavior, though.
What are you trying to discern?
When she was peeking out from behind the shelves and stuff like that, is she worried that we're going to, steal her book or something? Or is she worried she's going to get found out for something? Or, basically, was she worried or was she just like, he told me to watch them, so I'm watching them?
There was definitely a air of nervousness to Adalil's behavior.
Okay.
I would say, from what C's is able to discern, she was definitely willing to interact and help you guys out until you started mentioning Shadespeare, and
Okay.
that definitely changed her demeanor.
Okay. I guess the last thing here then, mark the 8 individuals that had contracts with the shops. So I know which ones on the list are the ones that are, that had those contracts.
How would you feel if I just gave you, for the purposes of C's, just in your notes, 3 random names?
I care less about the names, honestly, and more about I have a list with those marked, and I'm going to bring those to the Risen.
I will give you, for C's,
Okay.
3 random names. In your notes, you can literally put 3 random names, and then you can put Chazix as one of those 4 names that you're marking.
There were 8, you said, I thought?
Yeah, I thought you said you were marking 4.
No, I wanted to mark all 8 of them.
Oh, okay. I'll give you 7 random names and then an 8th.
Sounds like a deal.
Out of the 7 names, as you're sitting and talking back and forth with the prison member, she points out 4 of them that had contracts with Adalil practicing magic.
Okay.
Of the 4, one of them is the guy who assaulted her.
Chosek.
Yeah.
Well, it's been about a half hour, I think. I don't think there's any additional footwork that we should have to do. I think this is pretty good starting point for Aura to pick up from. We'll be seeing her at the dinner. We don't have to make it the subject, but we could hand it off to her there.
Sure. Sounds good.
Are you guys going to get ready and head towards the dinner?
Yeah. Spend some time polishing armor and things like that, and then head out.
Okay.
Brushing my mangled hair, etc.
Jason is actually going to bathe.
Did I give you guys a location for the dinner?
I believe you said it. I do not remember where it was.
Okay. What I will do is, I'm going to let you guys go back to the place you're staying at, the one roll in. When you get there, there will be emissaries of Aranka to take you towards where you will, or take you to the dinner for the night. They inform you it is in Elegance Walk, in a part of town known as Flamewalker's Hearth. I'm going to give you guys the emissaries will wait on you and escort you when you're ready. I'm going to give you guys some privacy to talk amongst yourselves and maybe plot or come up with strategies. I'm going to step away for a quick second to use the restroom, and when we and you guys, if you want, can leave with the emissaries, and when we get back, I will explain. I'll give you a description of Flamewalker's Hearth and move forward from there. So I'm going to give you guys like a few moments alone. I'll be right back.
Well, I think this is a really interesting way of tracking Shadespeare, and
Yeah.
I think it should be relatively straightforward for them to pick up where we left off. How much longer do we want to be involved with tracking down Shadespeare?
I don't know. It's
The poison's a kind of important thing. I think
It
that
is.
might be a better use of our time once we hand this off.
Yeah. But at that point, it's I don't care where it came from. It's where it's going that matters. So that's the tricky part there.
But
We
if we
need
know who the actual Shadespeare is that's dominating these bodies, maybe we can figure out who actually has the poison beyond just the person handing it off to their boss.
Yeah, I have a feeling that leaning on the Ruby Shadow for something like that would be a little tricky, but we may be able to. I don't know. We might be able to figure it out that way. That's one of those
You're
like, hey, we
probably
know who
right.
you really are.
Maybe we shouldn't try and step in on the Ruby Shadow or because we've got investments in not being involved with them.
Right. Yeah, I would prefer to stay out of their everything, if at all possible.
Okay. I am back, by the way. When you guys are done getting ready, let me know. You're given a measure of privacy.
Okay. Oh, the only other thing, Regis, make sure you sit next to me. You're eating all
Yeah?
my food.
No problem.
I figured you'd be down for that plan.
Tonight I will dine well.
Very much so. So, and if they're asking for options for food or anything like that, do you want more of the same that you asked for or something different, or figure it out as we go?
Figure it out as we go.
Okay. All right. Well, off to dinner then.
Alrighty. Let's see. Okay. So, leaving with the emissaries. Oh, I needed to do one roll for Tayden. Leaving with the emissaries, they're going to be escorting you guys down the walks of Sky's Reach, and to
I assume Tayden's with us, right?
to a carriage that you find Tayden waiting for you all in. Tayden is going to have a two folded bundles on her lap, and she is going to, as you guys climb into the carriage, she is going to unfold one of them and hold it up. In red in red words on a blue background, embroidered into the fabric is the words "paid in blood" with a scroll on it. On the scroll, it has a symbol of the coin of a coin. The coin looks to be liquidy, almost like made of blood. Tayden is going to hold it up and say, I commissioned tabards for tonight, but only 2 were done in time.
Aw. Well,
I've got my cape. I'd be willing to let one of the others have one.
I guess the big question is, did you get one? Is one of the ones that's done halfling sized or not?
Good question. Regus evens, yes. Odds, no.
Even if it's too,
Go ahead.
even if it's too big for me, I'll still wear it. But I'll wear it like some sort of formal robe.
Yeah, it is.
Shit.
It is a gown for Regus. It is a tabard for everyone else.
Okay. Well, if that works, then sure.
So Regus and C's wear one.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. As you guys are trotted down the city streets, Tayden chats with Tayden chats with all of you. Just the excitement she feels, and it's the fanciest city she's ever been in, to the fanciest event she's ever been in. You guys are led to Elegance Walk. When you arrive at what is Flamewalker's hearth, it is a It is a very nice section of town, as most of the town is built around access to water and wells for the community and these public parks. There is a large courtyard in the middle of this area, and where you would expect a fountain. Instead, there is a display of a statue surrounded by soft burning fire. The buildings around here, you are in the central upper section of Alunagai. Waiting for each of you are wave darters that have been repurposed as palanquins for you. Stepping out of the carriage and onto each one, the captains or the pilots of these are going to kick them off of the ground. They look like surfboards with a sail on them and a railing bending around behind the driver and back to the sail. As they kick off, they begin to levitate and move through the sky. They take you up and around the towering buildings of the central city to a balcony overlooking the eastern sea. Arriving up here, let me roll if our other members are here yet. You all are the first guests to arrive. There is a large dinner table with space for all 4 of you. There are additionally 3 more spaces at the... Oh, I'm sorry, there are 4 more spaces prepared on the other side of the table, and another space at the head. There are hors d'oeuvres that have been served and cups. There are servants waiting to fill up any or make any requests that you or to fulfill any requests that you need. And let's roll for the quality of entertainment. There is a poet here. She has a harp and she is reciting Nali Palias softly as you guys approach the table. Tayden is going to step off of her boat as it docks on the balcony and walk towards the table.
I'll follow.
Yep.
Okay. You each are able to take a seat at the table and enjoy the last little lights of the last little bit of daylights over the horizon as the sun sets in the Eastern Ocean. As it does, arriving next at I made a portrait for this lady. Let me upload it real quick.
Brewbark is going to memorize the sunset since he'll probably never be in such an iconic, beautiful space ever again at sunset. I imagine it's quite a sight.
It is of the gorgeous colors of the sky reflecting off the ocean as night comes. You guys just passed a full moon in Ilderon a few days ago, so the waning moon is taking over the night sky. Um, it is worth stating, though, unfortunately, there is a lot of fog from the death mist, so these colors reverberate through the fog, um, even though you can't necessarily see the exact happenings of everything. All right. I don't know where I put my portrait for Aranka. That is unfortunate. But the next person to arrive is Aranka. She has silvery hair on top of her head. As she steps off her vessel, she helps another woman off of hers. The woman is going to speak up and say, please, it's my job to serve you. You are seated of grace. And Aranka is going to shake her head and say, no, no, no. No matter how high we get or how old and wise we become, we must remember to help those around us. The lady chuckles, stepping onto the balcony. Aranka steps into the dining area. She bows to everybody and says, "Ah, our esteemed guest. I'm sorry some business caused me to be delayed, but I can assure you I've already paid for everything. We will have the finest evening of entertainment in front of us."
Rupart kind of bows a little bit and says thank you.
She's going to nod, and she's going to turn to the risen member following her and says, Isaniv, these are the gladiators I told you about. I witnessed their fight yesterday evening at the Windswept Rounds. It was quite the spectacle. I haven't seen contenders come through or walk the path of glory like this in it's been years. Isaniv is going to bow and say it's it's an honor to meet all of you. Brubart, give me a wisdom check. I will allow perception if you are trained in it.
I love wisdom. Thank you. I was actually thinking how my... Oh.
Okay.
My wisdom is so much better than almost anything else.
Your mind jumps for a moment. Still, that cloud is kind of there. Something about Isaniv feels familiar, but you can't quite place it. With that, they are each going to take a seat at the table. Aranka sits at the head of the table. She looks out over the ocean and says, this restaurant had one of the finest views of the sunset. This fog, this mist, it threatens to consume everything. Not just life, but the enjoyments of life too. I'll be happy when the university finds an answer to it.
I start describing the sunset from a few minutes ago, realize that she was probably here too.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard anything about this mist? Progress on finding a solution or anything like that?
She's going to nod and say, I've spoken with Headmistress Winrona about it. They are searching for solutions in the university. It's magical in nature. Originated from the inner sea, the center of the world itself. They have a talented prodigy actually working on this right now who believes they have a solution. I don't know, though, if I can trust the fate of our country to children. But, alas, greatness can come from anywhere.
You don't have to be old or young to be talented. Wisdom comes with age, but also experience.
She is going to nod. I don't quite understand it myself. Asenev, you were there. Relay Kaipelden's briefing. Asenev is going to clear her throat and say, from what the Arcanists are able to put together, the spell anchors itself through individuals it latches onto, kills, siphons the life, the essence out of their body, and uses that as some way to root itself to this world. The anchors can be removed and the mist itself will dissipate for a time being, but it's almost sentient. It finds new hosts, new people to attach itself to, and returns. Any solutions they've found so far have only been temporary. I believe Aranka speaks up. There was something else in his briefing. Conjecture. She's gonna say, all conjecture is based on something. It was Brindori in nature, was it not? This was started by the Alien elves. She's going to shake her head and say, it's believed there is a Rion circle behind all of this. The name they have been given currently is the Daughters of Gindoai. Again, though, investigations into the matter are not conclusive. Aranka.
Definitely sounds like you're dealing with the arms of a critter, not the heart of it. You'll have to find the heart to kill it. But what do I know? Just a soldier and a gladiator.
Aranka's going to nod and say, I agree with this sentiment. Have you had any dealings with these ladies? They've been spotted all over the world causing chaos. I heard Dagger Gully is a moat now. A lake, Isanev speaks up.
I think so.
Tayden is going to clear her throat and say, yes, I killed one in Soro Mangan. I got a bounty on my head for doing it.
Oh, is that what that was? So, yes, peripherally.
You guys can roll a history check, too, if you remember any other dealings you had with them.
15 here?
Sees, you are going to remember the Crystal Tigers, the people who were watching that demi-prison for all the kidnapped people.
Yeah.
Were hired by the Daughters of Gindoai. The Elven Circle that was kidnapping them and turning them into doppelgangers was using the Crystal Tigers as extra mercenary blades.
Oh, wait a minute. I ruined one of their terrible plans to replace people. That's right. We did. I had a lot of help. Yeah, no, we all did that together, and that was their stuff. We didn't. I don't know. Did we actually see some of them?
I
I
don't
thought we
think
just
we
saw
met
the
any of
minions.
them. I think we just dealt with the underlings.
Was
Yeah.
that this same city?
It was the same city.
Yep.
What if
Go ahead.
um, what if that whole plan was now that I'm thinking about it, what if that whole plan of kidnapping people was to save people from the fog? What if they knew the fog was coming and they
Well,
wanted certain people?
wouldn't they have just said, "Hey, come with me or if you want to live because there's a deadly fog coming and we would like you to not die. Please and thank you." Instead of abducting them or replacing them with doppelgangers?
Ranka is going to wave her hand and say, whatever reason they did it, they took some of my best girls. It was unfortunate.
Did they not make it back?
She's going to shake her head and say, no, they've all returned, but for the period that they were missing, replaced by doppelgangers, who knows what secrets of our country were leaked, fell into the hands of the Brindoris, the Brindori, or the Brindoris who were running that, or who was orchestrating that.
Yeah, no telling. Especially since it's probably hard to figure out exactly when they were taken and all that sort of thing, and if their doppelgangers were doing additional sneaking around and listening at things and whatnot.
As you say that, there is a whoosh of or rushing of wind as a arcane tear kind of opens from the light emerges to people. When Laura and her court arcanist join or teleport into the dining room. Oh, as she does, Aranka is immediately going to stand up along with Asaniv and bow.
We all bow too. I speak for the group.
Which point, when Laura is going to say, please sit, Aranka is going to say, there is honor to be owed to your position, Your Majesty, and you should have a proper entourage announce you as you arrive. When Laura's going to say, I didn't come for this to this dinner for pleasantries. I wanted to meet with these individuals, and they are meeting with you. It is simply convenience. She is going to step over to the table and take a seat. Aranka
Just
sits
smokes.
after her. Say that again?
Ray just smirks because he never stood up and bowed. It's his own little way of saying screw the system.
Well, Ree just never bows after she sits down, though. Aranka takes her seat. Asaniv, watching Aranka, then sits down. The Arcanist sits at the same time. Once everybody starts being seated, Tayden takes her seat. Does C's, I'm assuming C's and Brewbark sit down?
Yeah. We'll sit down along with Tatum.
Yes.
And the background, the poet is going to say, my queen, your majesty, we've I've prepared a special Nali Palia for your occasion. I once saw... the queen is going to hold up her hand and say, "Dismiss your entertainment, Aranka. Let's be on about this evening." At which point, Aranka is going to turn towards the poet and say, "Thank you for your service. Thank you for your services. You'll be compensated in full for the evening." The woman is going to bow and say, "Thank you, Your Majesty." She bows. She heads towards the servants' doors.
Now, that's something somebody's going to be crying in their beer about someday. I could have performed for the Sky Queen.
Aranka is going to clap and say, "If you have other business to pertain or to get to this evening, you can dine with us and then depart. We'll spend the rest of the evening talking after you leave." When Laura is going to nod and say, "That would be preferable." A moment later, servants begin bringing dishes and placing them onto the table. There is an array of charred meat and roasted meat, sauces, baked bread, different curries, all being placed out. I can describe stuff in more detail. Aranka is pointing and asking for different dishes, and servants are preparing a plate for her. The same for the Sky Queen. Thaden takes note and says, I would like some of that steak, please." The servant who brought it out is going to begin cutting it and placing a cut on her plate. That said, you guys can request whatever you want. I gotta make a few checks. There are 8 servants in here, one for each of you nine. One for each of you to help take your requests and help you through your meal and whatever you need.
While I'm going to be trying to be sly about it, I do want to do a little perception check to make sure that the servants look honorable and not trying to kill us.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a perception check. Let's... Oh. All right. Amongst the servants who are preparing each of your food, they don't seem to be trying to kill you. They are going about their business. Tayden, as who she is naturally chatty with the people around her. She is asking questions of like, "Ooh, what's that? Do you recommend it?" And the servant is going back and forth with her, just like, "Oh yes, you have to try this with this spice and this sauce, and please try this one." And otherwise, it is just requests from the people being served. When Laura is making a dead stare at the servant who is preparing her plate, and the lady seems incredibly nervous, swallowing and shaky hands. Do you guys ask for any food, or do you just wait till everyone else is served?
I will. I'll tell my servant to do whatever Tayden does because she's getting the inside scoop.
I point at the various meats and say that, and that. And then I point to potatoes and like whatever variety of those they have.
Okay. Brewbart, give me one more perception check. Okay. Your servant is going to prepare your food, just like Tayden's asking about it from the servant who is helping Tayden. Oh, after all is said and done, you guys have plates either proportion off for the foods that you want. There is, I'll just put, or you know what? I'll just say there is all types of cut meat here. There is seafood. One of the things Alona Guy does really well with is pan-fried noodles that they serve with sauce, and there are also different boreal creatures that have been hunted and served up. Also exotic foods, so I'm not just gonna copy and paste this list. I went and prepared like 5 meals, but for the purposes of this, you guys can mix and match them so much that you have. I'm not going to give you a huge list of foods, and you have pretty much the stuff that your characters would be interested in, except C's. They do not serve boil here. That was a joke.
So, would this be a bad time to mention to everyone else that's about to eat the food? There was a certain seated member that I learned, I'm not sure which one, but supposedly one of the seated acquired an extremely large quantity of very potent poison.
I'm going
Has that been checked?
to roll you a percentage die as you say that. The Sky Queen and Tayden have already started eating. Tayden with her fork in her mouth. Her eyes are going to stop and look over at you. The Sky Queen continues to casually eat her food. The Arcanist is going to, when Laura's Arcanist is going to speak up and say, nobody would be foolish enough to, nobody would be foolish enough to poison a Sky Queen. Her vengeance decree is still intact.
Figured I'd ask.
I don't remember actually if it's came up with this group. Are you guys familiar with the concept of a vengeance decree?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Okay, so
Is
Tayden
that
wouldn't
where the
know
person
either.
doesn't the person knows when they're going to die, and or ill will against them? Is that correct?
No.
I seem to remember something about a vengeance like will or something that you can write up ahead of time. And if you die, then those things happen.
Oh yeah. Okay, it was explained to you guys then. Oh.
But I don't know what her specific one is.
Yeah, sees you have whatever knowledge you want. Everybody else has knowledge on a vengeance decree on a. I'm gonna put a DC 10 history check. Tayden is going to think on it for a moment, and she will she'll pull her fork out of her mouth and say, "Your vengeance decree, what is it?" When Laura is going to look up at Tayden, the Arcanist, or actually Aranka is going to speak up and say, vengeance decree is to remain remain secret. Only a select few members of the Risen are aware of the knowledge, and once they review the decree, it is removed from their memories. Once the Sky Queen's life is taken, the vengeance decree then goes into effect.
Secret makes sense, but given Your Majesty's reputation, I would expect that one to be large scale, fairly severe.
When Laura is going to wipe her mouth, and she is going to say, my decree is simple. Should my life be taken, it shall become a Liturgian law that the seated are to act as Sky Queen until the position is filled. Should they be unable to do so, the High Prophet of Light would pass judgment upon them.
Admit I expected something a lot more vengeance-y, but okay.
Aranka is
someone actually
you
eating?
guys I'm sorry, say that again.
Is someone actually eating? I keep hearing a crunching noise.
Sorry about that. I thought I had it on push to talk. My apologies.
While it doesn't seem very shocking to seize, Aranka's mouth is held open. Ansuniv is going to say, "You can't do that. That violates the tenets." When Laura is going to shake her head and say, "It was reviewed. It does not violate the tenets." Aranka is going to laugh and say, "You really are insane, aren't you?" When Laura is going to take another bite of her food, staring Aranka in the eye. "Are we going to play this game, or are you going to confess to what you've done?" Aranka is going to laugh and say, "I did not poison you." When Laura looks up at the rest of the party and says, "The food is poisoned, but she has an antidote. Your servants are likely instructed to administer it to you."
Is there a servant nearby?
Oh. I look to my servants and give the head nod and go, "Ready for the antidote about now."
Aranka.
Regis turns to hit. Oh, sorry.
Aranka is going to speak up and say, "So it's true, you really are magical. How? Do you know that?" When Laura takes another bite of her food, staring at her, when Aranka Aranka's going to wave her hand and say, nobody's been poisoned. Only one plate was instructed to be poisoned.
And whose was that?
Aranka is going to brush a hand forward and say, well, she's still living, and I guess since the ruse is up, she snaps her finger. The servant next to Tayden is going to put a vial on the table. Tayden is going
You
to
son of a
go
bitch.
towards it and drink it immediately.
Why would you poison her?
When Laura is going to say, well, it likely has something to do with why she invited you here tonight. She exhales and says,
Ruby Shadow?
is that what you're asking?
My thought is that it's because of the Ruby Shadow.
She's going to.
I think she'll explain.
She's going to say, no. It's very simple. I invited you all here for a reason. Oh, I'm sorry, that is not her voice. You're headed to Alien next. The Brinderai. They treat all of us like children. They protect the blood rivers, and there's secrets lurking in that country. But they meddle in our affairs. They send assassins after us in the night. They kidnap our citizens. They replace them with doppelgangers. She shakes her head and says, they are not to be trusted anymore, but humanity. We've held back the Archblight for 150 years without their help. We're capable of protecting our continent. Alunagai's the strongest it's ever been. I've invited you here because I want you to formally be emissaries of me, for me, when you go into Alien. They do not accept any past Mentori unless you can defeat their Shadow Knights in combat. Something that I think you all are capable of.
And you thought the best way to get us to cooperate is to poison our sponsor?
She's going to shake her head and say, no. But you never know who is lurking within your ranks. Why I did need to administer poison tonight. I needed to test the extent, she turns towards Thora, of your knowledge. So you know of crimes that are committed, but not the details of the crimes that happen. You know that others and I conspired to break the law, but not whether or not we actually did. How do you do this? When Laura is going to look away. You are so ready to kill yourself to enact your vengeance plot, or your vengeance decree. You think we're stupid enough to take your life? When Laura is going to say, or put her napkin down and say, I'll handle my business with the guild, and I'll leave. Aranka is going to shake her hand, hand and say, no, no, no. You want to purge this country of corruption, but just work with me on this. 3 members of the Seated conspired to kill you. I can testify against them. You and I can be allies.
I don't know that I would want to ally with you, because honestly, you could have thrown us a
You did
reasonable amount of
just
gold
try
and we
and
would
kill
have
us.
taken care of. No, you just tried to kill the sponsor, but a reasonable amount of gold would have secured everything you needed from us.
Regis is fucking furious. He slams his fist on the table, points to the bitch. I will never work for you, you evil whore. I knew coming to this city was bad news. Fucking politics and corruption and all this bullshit. He grabs a leg of a roast bird or turkey, whatever, and storms out.
Okay, do you go towards the servants' quarter or the balcony where the ships are waiting?
I'm heading out of but I'm going back to the inn we were staying at.
Okay,
There's
You
no
would have
fucking
to
way.
get the ship then.
Yeah.
He's stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Regis is pissed.
Regis can
You're
take.
you're trying.
Go ahead.
Regis. This Caden to Regis is kind of like an older sister. This is kind of he kind of feels like this is an awkward family he's never had, and so he is not going to take shit from. He's not going to work or anything with people who have tried to actively harm. And him
Alright.
storming out is the only thing that he can think of to do that besides smashing her in the face, and he
Hey,
doesn't want to upset C's
that's
by
fair.
doing that.
Okay. Regis can make a show. Head over to the boat, and the pilot will kick it off of the balcony and take you down back to the courtyard. With that, Ranka is oof, hold on. I lost my train of thought. I gotta remember where we were at. The Sky Queen said she'll handle your business and leave. Aranka said work with her. Oh, yeah. She's going to say, well, now that I know what your vengeance decree is, we'll be careful to keep your life intact, but whether you work with me or not, please understand now that I have blackmail on the other 2 sisters who were involved in this plot. Their reputation is at stake. They would not want it to be smirched, whereas me, many know that I am willing to do what needs to be done to secure Alona Guy.
I get rid of the corruption in this country. Kill the Seated. Just get it over with.
When Laura is going to look towards these and say, they are outside of the operating legal tenets that form our country. They are neither Risen nor Sky Queen. They are not Sunyeth or Light.
In that
Now, I
sense,
just learned
is
about this
there a
stuff
repercussion
recently.
for them? Is there a repercussion for them to quote unquote disappear? Winona?
When Laura, she is going to say, burying a soul, they have all the same protections that anyone else within our country has.
I just figured it was worth asking.
Well, I just learned about this system recently, but it sounds to me like they pick the Sky Queen, and picking someone with whatever agenda they want is pretty impactful, and it's a lifetime position, which is, above the law and all that kind of stuff. And it just screams corruption bait to me. I mean, I'm no politician, but sounds like a lot of risk to me.
Tayden is going to speak up. And there's 5 of them. And you have, you're one, and you have blackmail on the other 2. Aranka is going to nod and say, yes. You can see why it's more advantageous not to follow their plot and kill you, Laura. Instead, you can work with me, or I can control the the nominations of Sky Queens for the next 20 years.
See what I mean?
Bart continues eating.
At which point, Aranka is going to, or not Aranka, when Laura is going to say, I'll send an advisor to you tomorrow to negotiate our next steps. If you comply and you actually testify against them, I'll see what I do from there. My wrath will come upon you, I promise that. She looks towards the guild. I have important news for your journeys heading towards Alyen.
I was hoping I was going to be able to hang around for the wrath.
I put down my turkey leg.
She's going to turn and say, there's been no action committed from them that I can reasonably pursue. Killing her would invalidate my rule as Sky Queen.
Okay, sounds like politics. Whatever you gotta do, you gotta do.
She's going to speak up and say, you're aware of the doppelgangers
Yep.
that took over part of our government?
Mm-hmm.
I am very thankful that you were able to resolve that matter. However, that is powerful magic reserved to Brindori's Shadow Knights.
Okay.
The Shadow Knights
seems
are
like a
an
dangerous bunch.
order,
Mhm.
always controlled by an Ilderon. The Ilderon run Alyen. I've pledged to fight corruption within Ilonagai's government. It was the reason I was nominated and elected as Sky Queen. While I can protect you while you're within our borders, I cannot protect you when you go over theirs. You may step into a situation far worse and far more dangerous than here. While I can shield you from the schemes she looks towards Aranka, the schemes of the seated. There are members with power in Alyen that I cannot protect you from. The reason this is important, there are far more dangerous forces at work within that forest. Have you ever heard of the Forest Witch before?
Sounds vaguely familiar. I think we were talking to some folks about how to get there, and there was scary magics and dark forests and very dangerous paths and not so dangerous paths.
Melis is a creature that cannot be killed. When slain, she returns every time. She is unbound by time, she is unbound by physical form. It is a problem that consistently haunts the forest. It is the creatures of the Bound. Once they are touched by the corruption that flows from the blood rivers, they cannot leave the forest. They are bound to it eternally. There are horrors and there are monsters that lurk there. I have Alona Guy's army protecting the border, stopping from any individuals from going into the forest. The Shadow Knight's sole purpose is to protect the world in Cedal from these bound creatures, from the influence of beings like Millis. If the Shadow Knights are here, causing havoc on our shores, I can assure you the forest, without its protectors, is far more dangerous than it's ever been. Tayden's going to say, you spent 4 years lost in that forest, didn't you? She nods and says, I've seen every horror it has to offer. Yes. I want to give you this word of caution. Should you wish to end your travels on the path of glory, it is understood. But should you decide to venture into Alyan without the aid of the Shadow Knights to protect you from the creatures of the forest, if you encounter Millis, your soul, your mortal form, everything that binds you to this reality is in peril.
From your experience, is there a Shadow Knight that we should meet?
She's going to shake her head and say, my entire time within the woods, I've never encountered a single one.
Not sure how to use that information.
Tayden is going to speak up and say, is it true, the rumors? Does Millis grant wishes of people who seek her? When Laura is going to shake her head and say, that is just tales passed around by the commoners. That monster is incapable of granting wishes. It's only curses that she distributes.
How do you know this firsthand? Were the other soldiers that went in with you victims of that?
When Laura opens her mouth to speak, then a faraway look kind of takes over her features as she gets lost in a memory. She closes her mouth, bites her lip, and looks away. If you want that information from her, you're probably gonna have to convince her to share it. With that, though, when Laura is going to clear her throat and say, I've conveyed all the information necessary. I wish the safety of your souls should you venture north. You're rolling a persuasion check? What are you saying with that?
I had rolled it before she had said that's all that she would say. I was going to say that if we're going through there, any information can help us, and if you know things firsthand, that we might have a clue to how to defeat Was it Melissa?
Millis.
Millis. That was my message with that persuasion check.
Oh. When Laura opens her mouth to speak again and finds the words getting caught in her throat. I'm going
Can I
to
do
give
I
everybody
do a
in
perception
the...
check.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give everybody in the room a free insight check if you want. I rolled one for the NPCs there, and I will share the results if you guys choose to roll or not. Brewbark. The brain is working. The DC for
I'm
this...
wise. I'm wise. I'm just stupid.
The DC for this was 15. So C's. I'm gonna just give from the bottom up data. To C's watching this, when Laura's been bested in a game of politics, and one of her rivals, like, the lady's just shaking right now. Brewbark, some things start making sense to you. The Aranka stated that when Laura has the power to deduce who is or what crimes are, rather, when people are making crimes against a Lilnagai, you also remember all of those crazy laws that made no sense, that were very easy to break. That she came out with the mandates of just weird things to be illegal. Oh my gosh, my mouse is messing up.
I have it open.
Okay, yeah, I was just going to show it to everyone else. Anyways, you're going to remember that, and you're going to be able to put together her inability to kind of speak on this subject, what Aranka has said, what's transpired here tonight. She probably has made some sort of deal with Millis, giving her these abilities. Unfortunately, as you come to that conclusion, so do several other people in the room, Aranka being the first one to speak up and say, "So that's how you found that traitor. What was your deal with the Forest Witch?" When Laura is going to look her in the eye and say, "To know where a Lilnagai's enemies hide." Aranka is going to look pensive on this. At which point, when Laura is going to look towards her Arcanist and say, "Let's leave," her Arcanist is going to stand up and begin scribing a spell on the ground. After a minute.
What happened to enjoying each other's company after the Sky Queen left? You announced it at the beginning.
Oh no! When Laura is leaving, Aranka is.
Oh, my apologies. Gotcha.
After a minute, the teleportation sigil is complete. The Arcanist casts the spell when Laura steps into the portal that forms. They depart. Tayden is going to push her plate away and say, I don't too much feel like eating. Aranka is going to say, please, I assure you there will be no more games for this evening. Her presence was unexpected.
Pretty sure the presence of poison was not, and for those that eat, that seems like something to kill one's appetite.
How did you come across this poison? Was this the same poison that I had encountered, or is that different poison?
Bought this from Shadespeare, did you?
Aranka is going to laugh and say, I'm far too old to go creeping around at night with criminals.
Well, I didn't say you did it personally.
I had Asenev acquire it. Asenev
If I look at Asenev, does he look familiar to... Well, you said he looks familiar to me. Was he present?
She sounds familiar to you. Now that you try and
Oh,
place
is she?
it, yeah, now that you try and place it, she is the woman who was there that night with Shadespeare.
Gotcha.
Aranka is going to say, if you feel that crime's been committed, though, you have your right to seek justice under the light's judgment. Asenev is going to look towards you guys and say, please, I was just acting on her orders.
Whose orders?
Aranka.
Oh, hers?
Aranka is going to say, mine.
Oh, Asenev, I'm not worried about you. You, however, were a couple clicks away from ending up a splatter on that wall.
Which begs the question, if you worked with two others, and there's only two that did not conspire with you, who are the ones that did not conspire?
She is going to say, now, the one thing that the other seated members care about is their reputation. It helps recruit for their school and secure funding. They wouldn't want such pristine images to be smirched. I told them I would act as their hand, for I have seen far more, and I've been on these shores for far longer. She shakes her head. That is my key to control over them, and the information I will not divulge. Brubark, you are entitled to a free intelligence check if you cannot put it together on your own. But through process of elimination, it's likely been revealed.
Well, I am wise, but I am not smart.
All right. Let's see. Intelligence. Oof. Yeah, Brubark does not know. I don't think she would tell you guys. But you do have access to this information through critical thought. So, again, I give it to any of you guys for intelligence checks. Otherwise, if you remember later, you're able to put it together later. For aid, I guess I'll roll one. Golly, Tayden just just critted. For your guys' sake, Tayden is going to begin mumbling to herself, and she's going to say, there are 5 schools. The Sky Queen was elected to fight corruption, and she's of discipline, so they probably aren't trying to kill her. Does that mean purity, honor, grace, and elegance? But the Sky Queen's working through the students of honor, and you're of grace. Tayden is going to kind of snap to and just as she kind of figures it out. Aranka is going to stare at her and say, "Oh, if you don't say it while you're not here, you'll say it to them behind my back. Please, I'm not the type to send assassins after you. Although I know you are chased by some." Tayden is going to nod and say, it's the schools of elegance and purity, is it not? Aranka is going to look down and continue to eat her food.
I'm sorry, for my notes, the 5 schools I had purity, honor, grace, elegance. What was the 5th?
I will link it in chat. That is the Risen's page. Any information I put on the wiki, I allow you guys to, if you want, so your characters are aware of. But elegance, grace, honor, purity, and discipline. When Laura is risen from the School of Discipline, which means the seated from that school nominated her. So if they nominated her, they probably don't want to kill her, which outlies the School of Discipline. Every time you guys have interacted with Laura, the emissaries she's used have been from the School of Honor. Or, I'm sorry, not... the School of Honor. That is where Aura is from, and the people that you guys are working with to try and investigate Shadespeare. Which means if there are 5, the 3 that have not... the 3 that are left is Grace, that Aranka runs, Elegance, that you guys haven't had many interactions with, and Purity, which you guys have had very few interactions with. Aranka is going to speak up and say, "You might think my method's harsh, but the seated act in shadows, and have acted in shadows for far too long. I grow tired of games and posturing. I like this new Sky Queen of ours. She's very direct and forceful. A daughter after my own heart if I had one. But, alas, it comes down to the true reason why I invited you here. You may not like my methods, but they are correct. Even the Sky Queen warned you of such. There are those in Alyen that cannot be trusted. I would like you to act as emissaries for me. I can teach you to navigate with precision in their circles. I can send an instructor with you. But if you could be my eyes and ears into the country, you might help me save all the lives in this all the lives on these shores. I care about one thing and one thing only: the future of Ilil Nagai. whether that means I need all the power in the world to protect it, or she nods to the servants standing behind the table, agree to poison the Sky Queen of our nation, I will do either of these things. I'm sure you know that in a fight, sometimes the actions we take are not elegant.
Speaking as someone who's been a soldier and other things for many years that has done nothing but fighting, how you fight speaks of your soul. And there are always honorable ways of achieving the goal.
She's
being satisfied and proud of your work in combat or otherwise is healthy, required, and good for your soul. Even one that starts broken and in a dark place like mine.
She's gonna nod and say, I instruct those in my school of the importance of sacrifice. And sometimes one soul must be sacrificed to save far many. That is why my hands are dirty with what Laura so eagerly calls corruption. My schemes and plots are swords and weapons that I reluctantly wield.
You seem all too willing.
Fight on different battlefields. She nods and says, yes, I am willing. But alas, if we cannot come to an accord,
Can I do an insight check to...
Go ahead.
Can I do an insight check to see in what way she's trying to manipulate us? I assume that she's manipulating us, but kind of what sort of... is it knowledge seeking, or is it more to get rid of us?
Yeah. Let me roll a check on her behalf. So I would say for Brewbark, kind of what you're able to determine, she has made no qualms about disliking the Brenderai. She's mentioned it several times. And that I would say kind of as a correlation to like this conversation in the real world. You know, when you guys were talking about like the mist when you first got here, and she's like, oh yeah, Brendori, Shadow Knights and the Doppelgangers and stuff is very akin to like you know,
it's a nationalist propaganda sort of thing.
Yeah. And so I would say for Brewbark, trying to determine like how she's manipulating you, I don't think Brewbark would be able to discern that she cares at all about you guys. I think Brewbark would kind of be able to see that
we're not even a pawn, we're literally just there.
Well, no. I would say Brewbark would be able to put together that like her when she's personal about something, maybe there'd be like a different fire, but to her this is a very utilitarian conversation of, you know, be my agents. I want you to go do a thing that you're capable of doing. And you know, I would say that there is a certain amount of earnesty in this transaction. I guess that's what Brewbark would be able to put together. Rather than manipulation, this seems very transactional to Brewbark.
Okay, that puts me at ease a little bit. If we were to do this, Aranka, what would be in it for us beyond getting to our passage free of harm?
Hold on. We're not working with her. Regis has it right, okay? You tried to kill, or you even put that on the table as though this is part of the negotiating. We're going to almost kill Tayden.
I don't think we should turn away the guidance, or at least the instructor that would prepare us before our trip.
I'm pretty sure we can find a better instructor elsewhere.
I'll concede. I think we should probably walk away.
Aranka is going to say, with the events of tonight, I have control over the resources of the School of Elegance. It is the school whose primary dedication... Oh, I'm sorry, it's not her voice. It is the school whose primary dedication is instructing and educating their members on the ways of politics. Adept negotiators, eyes to watch those who you interact with. One to travel with you, who could help you sort through the lies of the circles you'll encounter. To weave and find secrets in the words and meaning, words and meanings hidden within the facades the Brinderai put between you and the secrets of that forest.
So, you're definitely going about this all wrong, because doing that with Tayden, you lost all chance of any kind of working with us, period. Guaranteed. Now, as far as their tactics and whatnot, I'll find other guidance. Okay? I'm not going to be any kind of emissary. I'm terrible at that.
She's going to...
If somebody that is going to actually deal in some kind of vaguely forthright manner with me wants to open negotiations and needs somebody to fight Shadow Knights for them, okay, we can talk. Okay? But you?
Please.
I would worry about the deal you would try to cut with them. So...
She's going to say...
And whether or not you'd hang us out to dry in the process.
You may make your decision, and I will respect that. But understand, that was the first time when Laura has left her castle, or her palace, in months. That's the most she's ever said about her time in the forest, even under official debriefings. She said nothing but silence and staring into the distance. We've known about her abilities for some time, but had very little information to go off. I did not have intentions of killing your friend, but when the opportunity presents itself, we had to seize, or more personally, I had to seize such an opportunity. For that, she gestures towards Tate and says, I apologize. And if you're not one of the daughters of Ginduai, I apologize even further.
Daughters of Ginduai?
She's going to nod and say, the Rian circle of Dorai that have been causing chaos around the world. I'm sure you know they've destroyed an entire city, afflicted our world with this mist that is strangling all life from it. They've done more, but the details of which, she shakes her head. I was briefed on, but it is horror.
Well, that was an opportunity that ruined any other opportunities.
She's going to nod and say, well, again, I assure you, you can have, you may enjoy the rest of what's left of tonight. I will relieve you of my presence. It truly was special meeting all of you, and I wish you safe travels into Alien, and many victories on the rest of your path of glory. She scoots out from the table and stands up. Asaniv stands up. Aranka is going to put her hand and say, stay! The room is paid for the night. All the expenses on are on my vault. The entertainer waits just beyond in the servants' quarters. Enjoy yourself.
It's a shame that Ost is leaving us without the alcohol.
The servants are still here.
No, I meant
Oh, yeah.
Ost left before the alcohol got crazy.
Fair.
Yeah.
Asana
Well, I
is
don't
going
know.
to sit back at the table, kind of tapping her hands awkwardly. She's gonna pick up her fork, put a bite in her mouth.
Asanov, I have no intention of making you a target, but I will need you to testify that I did not do anything when I last encountered you. I have a hearing, or an injunction against me that we have to clear up if you will assist me.
Of course. Everybody who was privy to that affair is here tonight, except for Shadespeare, and he wouldn't want it getting out. We can simply say it was a exchange of medicinal potions, and that all parties involved were operating within the legal statutes. Hello, Nagai?
I think it's probably a lot messier than that, and that's not really a lie I'm willing to tell.
Of course. She's going to take another bite. She's going to then speak up and say, I'm Aranka's presumptive candidate for nomination when Laura's term ends in 3 years. I would very much like to keep my position until then.
Well, how about this? I strongly suggest you learn to be your own person before then. Because if you ever become Sky Queen, under current circumstances, you're going to make such a mess of things, and it's not entirely going to be your fault.
She nods and says, I have a plan to decrease Alonagai's reliance on Morzia for trade and bolster the Commonwealth, which is the responsibility of the Sky Queen to care for. Simply aligning myself close with Aranka gets me closer to having the power to enact meaningful change. It's
just
simply
be careful of the
game,
price.
It's simply the game, the Emissaries. Wait, not the Emissaries. They have a name.
Cheated?
No, not the Seated. Aura's rank of people When you get this high in the Risen, you are a Sky Aspirant. She's going to say it's simply the role the Sky Aspirants have to play. She is going to look down, kiss the, looks towards where Aranka left, asses of the seated until we get the power to be free from them.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. If you do that much ass kissing, you're with someone as snaky as that one, you're gonna end up on the hook. Either by getting indoctrinated or blackmailed or whatever. So be careful of the price you're paying for that.
Asenev is going to look towards you all. She's going to say, I have the rest of that potion. The Sky Queen was willing to meet with you all. The first people in weeks that she's come out of her castle to. We know her vengeance decree. If she makes the seated act as sitting Sky Queens, they're subject to the same laws and legal tenets as everyone else.
That's
Prophet of
why
Light
she...
could remove them from the position, could strip them of all power and rank. All we would have to do is kill Winlora.
Mm-hmm.
All you would have to do.
Pretty sure there are better ways of doing that.
Pretty sure that you just asked us to not get you in trouble and then immediately asked us to kill the Sky Queen. That's an interesting jump you made there.
Asenev is going to say, if there's anything I've learned from being Aranka's dagger, it is that sometimes the cost is worth the result. Asenev is going to look back down at her food and say, I shudder at what games she's going to, or schemes she's going to get involved with, trying to bend the schools of elegance and purity to her will with this new news. She's the only one now who knows the magical extents of Winlora's powers. And of course, what the other seededs are involved into, or the other seeded are involved in. Whatever scheme she concocts, I'm going to have to be the one enacting them.
That's a big price to pay. And your economic plan there sounds nice, but there are bigger problems, and I think you know it.
Asenev is going to say, well, this damn myth wasn't a factor when I started, or when I became an aspirant for Aranka.
Oh, I'm not talking about the mist.
She is going to shake her head and say, removing the seated, we're getting a new legal tenet that folds them into Alonagai's government. It's a dream. It can exist as a vengeance decree, but nobody with the power to make it a reality would ever approve such a thing. The seated exist because they are not a part of the government. I think it's noble to give up power.
Not giving up power. They're just having to wield it through somebody else. Bunch of somebody else's. The above the law part, that's the damn problem, and you know it. That's what had Aranka so scared about potentially being put back on the other side of the law. Because she knows she'd be in a pile of trouble, and I'm willing to bet at least 2 of the seated would be as well. Maybe all 5 of them, who knows?
She's gonna nod and say, it's why something could only exist as a vengeance pack. Legally doable, but a fantasy that scares off anyone from actually putting a dagger to Windlora's throat. Ooh, I said vengeance pack, vengeance decree.
I know what you're talking about. Well, we've solved a few problems for this country already.
Yeah, best
Necessarily
you can do now
think
is
that's
just get out of here.
There may be other
Gonna
things.
help out a little.
Ooh, I have a crazy idea.
What if we
Sure,
went
sure.
above? What if we went above Winola's?
Windlora?
When Laura's head to the what's the guy of light?
High Prophet of Light. The current
High
High Prophet of
Light.
Light is Octus. I cannot remember his last name. I think it's Kai Gren. Is that what Brubark says out loud?
Well, I'll say, what if we went directly to the Disciple of Light?
She's going to nod and say, the High Prophet of Light has the power to remove any Risen member or the Sky Queen from the positions they hold, should they find them unworthy of Alilia's favor. Unfortunately, through the tenets, the seated are neither Risen nor Sky Queen.
Well, if he's the highest authority, then that he might have a solution. If you want to solve a problem, sometimes you go to the person at the top.
Well, it sounds like until when Laura's dead, he's not at the top.
And legislative power, when Laura is his equal, and judiciary power, he is in charge, or he runs that half of the government. Appointments of lights and supreme lights are all done through the High Prophet. She will roll a intelligence check and say, I think that it's worth talking to Octus, High Prophet Octus, about. However, there's no judicial authority that any of the Supreme Lights would have over the seated. the most they would be subjected to would be breaking any laws involving souls. They're very careful in who and when they choose to kill, and how they choose to kill.
Out of character, I'm grasping at straws. I feel like we can't kill when Laura. We can't have them ascend. We're kind of in a catch-22.
If this is an issue that you guys care about and want to see some resolution to, I think we can afford to spend another session or two on it. If it's something you think your character's about, I always allow you guys to roll intelligence checks, and I would try and give information that maybe your characters would be thinking of from their position and the knowledge that they have. Otherwise, I would like to echo back that the center focus of this campaign, you guys go to Arena, fight at Arena, win fame and glory, and go on to the next arena, and that I promised there would be story hidden under the or under the surface if you guys wish to pursue it. Otherwise, you guys are more than welcome to ignore it and go on with the things that are important to your characters, as not every issue in the world has to be solved by you guys, but the ones you can solve are always nice. That's in summary.
So
If you want ideas and you're flailing to think of something, you are free to roll an intelligence check, and I'll try and fill your head with some.
So how about this? Out of character, I've got an idea, or C's has an idea for how to deal with the problem, possibly in fairly elegant fashion. In character, C's is just going to say, you know what, I think we're done here. You know,
I agree, and I think
the
we
food
are
looks
done
pretty.
at
I
dinner.
can't eat any of it. And there's no deal that's going to be struck here tonight, I think.
Okay. Aranka has already left. You are just eating with
Yeah.
Lakios and it.
But like I said, there's no deal that's going to be struck here tonight.
Okay.
Yep.
Because she doesn't seem to have the stones to like make her own deal without Aranka's influence, say so or whatever.
She did. I do want to reiterate. She did offer to give you guys poison to kill the Sky Queen.
Right.
Behind Aranka's back. I would like that noted.
Okay.
I think I'm going to say I pitch this as a thought. We go pick up the beautiful drawings, then tomorrow we let Aura hand everything we know off to Aura, and then make our way to the next arena. That's my 2 cents.
So that's definitely the let's move on to the next arena plan. Once the characters have left, C's will talk about his idea, which is, so what really this country needs is for the Sky Queen to end up dead. What if we got more of the stuff that we got from Shokal? Because then that would happen, air quotes, but we would also have the best guide to the to that forest, and be dealing with the Shadow Knights and all that other kind of stuff. Assuming she's willing to travel with us for a little while. Just got to figure out how to get her out of town.
Well, she's not a Shadow Knight, but I get what you're saying.
No, but she's been through it more than anybody, pretty much in recent history.
Tayden's mouth is going to be like wide open. It's like, and say, "Jeez, that is downright devious."
We just call
Love
it
it.
here.
Oh,
Since we're
I'm sorry. I was not paying attention to the time.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You guys.
I'm in the clutch of gotta be
You.
in a couple of minutes.
That's
So
fine.
I mean, since we're pretty much just going to be trying to figure out what we want to do next,
Yeah,
can
I
we
think
save that?
that's a good point
for-
to end on. C saying, all you gotta do is pretend to kill the Sky Queen. And we will pick up here next session. So that is let's do experience for tonight. I am not going to give you guys experience. I've been keeping track of our milestones, and I'm just going to give us another milestone, as this was a major development in the story. When Laura can magically know the location of any enemy of Elil Nagai at all times. You guys also got story development. The Forest Witch, the Eldritch Horror that roams the Alien Woods, is back. It is unbound by time. Whenever it dies, it comes back eventually. This is one of its returns. The forest is very dangerous. And Brendori's Shadow Knights are participating in the politics of other nations and not currently protecting the forest. All of that, I am going to milestone you guys from 10 to 11. And then we will start with baseline 11 experience, and I'll do experience and milestones moving forward from here. So we are at 0.
What is the experience level for 11, if that's what we're getting to?
Let me look that up for you. So we are at 0 milestones, and we are at let's see, levels. Which page is the stupid chart on? Here it is. We're at 0 milestones and 85,000 experience. All right. And I think I'm just gonna give party-wide inspiration for good roleplay all around. People being true to their characters and also true to the setting, and not just drawing arms in a dinner with the fancy politicians of Sky's Reach.
Yeah, props to Regis for that one.
Yeah, that was a really hard choice.
Do you guys want me to roll for inspiration, or do you want normal inspiration?
I'll take a normal myself.
Okay.
I'm good with normal.
Okay. You all can add normal inspiration to your sheet. And our next session will be on the 24th of July. I'm going to end the broadcast there. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Bye.